broken all.
At the after party we dropped it.
It's supposed to be this afternoon. Yeah. One way or the other. Trevor Shaler. That's that guy from Sportmore too. He was shift admission or whatever from that Olympics.
Oh, okay.
Sportmore too.
Was he supposed to be? Well, shift mission was.
Yeah, he's a deputy or something.
Oh, yeah.
He was pretty high up. Yeah, he was. Well, this guy was second or something. Some other
Backup.
yeah. Max and Ronan.
Hey, I can't remember if I actually asked you before to do this. Just when
Which is better because I'll be standing right here and he's got to be there and there's got to be room and they come at him.
Wherever he stands.
Should we move this back a bit?
Move that back a little bit.
Just to here. So they come sort of straight through here.
Alright guys, just to bring it up, there's going to be, we're going to do that hard performance, the thing, and we had a kayak on the sketch. So, which we're just plugging down here.
That channel there's not spare. This is Linton.
So, does that one run off it as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, okay, here. So the spare one is the one that's straight from the...
The spare one's here.
That's why I bought 2 units. So I was thinking you guys... So this is the buy and
School stand.
Good morning. Please join with me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Gentlemen, will remain standing and we'll begin by singing the school motto song. Thank you. Be seated. Firstly, it's my pleasure to welcome our guests to this final assembly and sports and cultural prize giving this morning. Mr. Strahan McIntosh from Sport Manawatu, who's the secondary school sports advisor, and Mr. Trevor Shaler, who's the CEO of Sport Manawatu, and who will be today's guest speaker and will be presenting the award. So please join with me in welcoming our guests this morning. The first function of our final full school assembly today is to farewell teaching staff members who are leaving at the end of this year, and this is our last formal opportunity as a school to be able to farewell them together. Mr. Zeitz joined us from Germany this year in a teacher aide capacity, and he has worked with a number of language classes within the physical education department, and in particular with the sports development program, and has been very involved in basketball. Mr. Zeitz is returning to Germany to complete his teacher training, and we wish him all the best in this regard. And I've already told him I'd be happy to give him a job if he ever would like to come back to New Zealand. Mrs. Hadley-Jones begins maternity leave for the birth of her third child in January of next year, and will return to the school the following year, and we wish Mrs. Hadley-Jones all the best for the next stage with her growing family. Miss Lockett has taught social studies and history at Palmerston North Boys High School since January this year, and we've appreciated the manner in which she has embraced the ethos of our school and has been positively involved in all aspects of school life. Miss Lockett has been involved with hockey, was part of the staff team assisting Mr. Burton with the school production of Happy Days, and has supported the outdoor education program through her involvement with the Year 10 camps. Miss Lockett is moving to Auckland, and we wish her all the best as she continues her teaching career. Mr. Horvath has taught science and physics at Boys High since January 2011. He is well regarded by both his teaching colleagues and the young men in his classes. Mr. Horvath believes in making learning fun and is always looking for new and interesting ways to present new information to those in his classes. Mr. Horvath has been involved with coaching basketball, and this year was part of the coaching team of the successful Premier A team. Mr. Tinetti joined the Boys High Technology Department as a teacher of graphics in February 2007. As well as teaching, Mr. Tinetti has had an important staff development role, guiding teachers new to the profession and overseas trained teachers to the attainment of full registration in New Zealand. Mr. Tinetti is well qualified for this role, having previously coordinated the postgrad teaching diploma program at the College of Education here in Palmerston North. In this important role, he's played a significant role in helping to develop the skills and knowledge of a large number of new teachers, and we thank him for the vital role that he has played and growing the next generation of teaching staff. Mr Tinetti, in his time here, has been involved with rugby and has managed a number of age grade school teams. Mrs Hill. Mrs Hill joined the English teaching staff at Boys High in January 2005. She came to our school with a reputation as an excellent classroom teacher, and she has certainly lived up to this. Mrs Hill has high expectations of the young men she teaches, and this has been a key component in the fantastic assessment results the young men in her classes achieve. Mrs Hill has been well involved in the school co-curricular program as a manager of hockey, squash and tennis teams, has been involved in the Year 10 outdoor education program, and has helped as part of the crew with the school production. Mrs Hill is retiring, and we wish her all the best for the next stage in her life at the conclusion of her teaching career. Mr Gosling. Mr Gosling began his employment at Boys High School in January 1987 as a tech drawing and metalwork teacher. In January 1995, he was appointed as the assistant head of the technology department, while in 1997 he was appointed as Year 12 Dean and was appointed to the committee responsible for planning the new technology teaching block. Mr Gosling was the head of the graphics department for a number of years and oversaw significant changes in the curriculum in that subject area. Mr Gosling has made a significant contribution to the school co-curricular program over many years, in particular with cricket and rugby, and in earlier years through his involvement with the Year 10 camps. He was a teacher in charge of cricket for many, many years, a significant and vital role for one of our flagship sports. During his time in charge, it was not unusual for Boys High to field well in excess of 40 cricket teams during the year, and this required a significant level of behind-the-scenes organisation. Mr Gosling also coached rugby teams for many years, was the secretary of the Manawatu Secondary Schools Rugby Union and a delegate to both the Central Region Secondary Schools Council and Junior Advisory Board. These are all significant contributions that help to provide co-curricular opportunities for thousands of young men throughout his time here. In more recent years, Mr Gosling has been heavily involved with rugby refereeing and has helped to encourage a number of young referees to take this up. Most recently, he has taken an interest in volleyball and has managed teams in the local secondary schools competition. Mr Gosling has also been a keen supporter of the Shan Shield competition, and a highlight for him was being a teacher in charge of Kiora when they won the Shan Shield a number of years ago. Many of you will be aware that Mr Gosling has faced a number of challenges with his health in recent times, and this has prompted him to take early retirement, and I would like to thank Mr Gosling for his significant contribution to the school over many years and wish him all the best for his retirement. Mr Stuart Leighton. The end of the 2016 school year, gentlemen, marks the end of a very long association with Palmerston North Boys High School in the classroom for Mr Leighton Senior. Mr Leighton was a pupil here between 1965 and 1969. He was a talented sportsman, still is, and was selected in the first cricket 11 from 1967 through to 1969, captaining the team in that final year, and was also in the first rugby 15 in 1969, and along with that was a school prefect in that same year. At the conclusion of his secondary schooling here at school, he trained as a primary school teacher and taught at Cloverley Primary School, Napier Central School and St Peter's College, prior to being appointed as a permanent teacher of physical education, English and social studies at Boys High in September 1980. In 1985, Mr Leighton was appointed to a position of careers advisor, and from July 1989 had the role of sports coordinator added to his job description. In 1992, Mr Leighton became the guidance counsellor, a position he held until the end of the 2004 school year. In 1997, he assumed additional responsibilities in this area when he was appointed as head of student services. Many of you in the hall today will have used the services of the guidance counsellor and will understand what an important role this is in a secondary school. In this role, Mr Leighton always had the best interests of the young men of the school at heart as he worked with them through some difficult and trying circumstances. At the end of the 2004 school year, Mr Leighton moved out of teaching and took up a position with Thomas Griggs & Sons Funeral Directors. While this may seem like quite a career change, those of you who know Mr Leighton will be aware of his empathetic approach and care and concern for others. Fortunately for us, however, Mr Leighton missed working with the young men of the school. I think he didn't find his new clientele quite as responsive. And he returned to Boys High in September 2005 when he was appointed as manager of College House, a position he held until September 2008. This is a significant leadership role in the school. The hostel manager is responsible for the well-being of 170 young men and leads a team of more than 25 staff. This position is literally an all-day, everyday job, and it was one that Mr. Linton approached with his usual enthusiasm. Since February 2010, Mr. Linton has been the Year 8 Dean, responsible for maintaining our connections with our contributing schools. For many of you young men in the audience this morning, Mr. Linton would have been your first contact with Palmerston North Boys High School. While the list of roles that Mr. Linton has held at Boys High is in itself impressive, it is Mr. Linton's dedication to the young men of the school that he will be best remembered for. Himself a keen competitive sportsman, Mr. Linton has given up countless hours of his own time to take sports teams, particularly cricket, hockey and rugby, and in doing so provide opportunities for the young men of the school. In particular, Mr. Linton was the first 11 cricket coach from 1981 to 1987, manager of the first 11 hockey team from 92 to 94, manager of the first 15 rugby team in 2004, and manager of the Colts rugby team for a number of years. In all of these roles, Mr. Linton has been part of a number of overseas tours, and these have perhaps provided some of the highlights of his time at Boys High School. In the last few years, Mr. Linton has been involved with the midweek football competition. His competitive nature has certainly come out in this, and his teams were always well prepared, and his enthusiasm certainly rubbed off on the young men in his teams. As a student, Mr. Linton was in Phoenix Club, but moved into Kiora when he returned here as a staff member, and was the club leader of Kiora for a number of years. Mr. Gosling recently passed comment that it was the foundation laid by Mr. Linton and the emphasis he placed on developing student leadership that played a significant role in Kiora's Shield success under Mr. Gosling. Mr. Linton has been fully involved in the Boys High Outdoor Education Program. He has attended the Year 13 mountain trip and Year 12 OPC camp many times, and in more recent years has been appointed Honorary Kaumatua of the Enoda Bay Year 10 camp. Given his long ties with our school, Mr. Linton is incredibly well known and well regarded in the Old Boys community and in the wider Palmerston North community. While Mr. Linton is retiring from teaching, and we wish him all the best for the next stage in his life, one that will no doubt see him taking a number of courses, which also involve hitting a golf ball, we will also see Mr. Linton around next year as he begins a part-time role as liaison with the Old Boys community. Mr. Linton, we will miss your enthusiasm for the school, your dedication to ensuring the best outcomes for all of our young men, your professionalism as a teacher, and your genuine caring for your teaching colleagues and students. Mr. Linton is a man of impeccable character and integrity and leaves our school with an impressive legacy. Indeed, we've been very fortunate to have Mr. Linton serve our school for such an extended period of time. And as is tradition for long-serving members of staff, I would now like to invite Mr. Linton forward to address you from the lectern. Mr. Linton.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Bovey. It's pretty hard to start after listening to all of that. Hopefully it was all true. Good morning, school. First of all, I'd just like to thank the boys who've popped in to see me over the last couple of days, and also for those who've acknowledged me around the school. It means a lot. I've heard many speeches in this hall, and you have as well. And it's always a challenge to come up with something which may be of interest. One thing I can't match is the eloquence and fluency of many of the speakers that I've heard up here on this lectern, like former Rhodes Scholar Ryan Orange, who spoke to you guys in Term 3. So for ideas for this talk, I consulted with members of 10HW, sitting down here somewhere, about what might be of interest. And they said, tell stories about back in the day. So I'm going to follow their advice, and you'll know who to blame if it goes belly up. Some of these stories will have a little message and some won't. And I've simply called the theme for this talk, Hard Cases. And it has a strong sporting theme which goes along with this prize giving. So the first hard case I'm going to talk about is a guy called Grant. Now, Grant was a year 9, quite a big guy for a year 9, and I was taking Grant's class for physical education. And I hear this noise, and it's like a hand coming down on the top of somebody's shoulder, and Grant said, "Don't you dare talk while Mr. Linton is." I could have done with a Grant in every class that I've taught since then. Now, Grant was a pretty good guy, went on to be a prefect, and I think his name's on this honours board over here on my right, your left. 6VI, this goes back a way. Now, 6VI, they would today be a Year 12 accelerate group. And I took them for physical education as well. Now, back in that day, or back in those days, we had 223. You got 221 now. And I often took 6VI for physical education after interval. So it was period 3. And if I wasn't there before the bell went, they gave me a hard time. Now, they were guys, they had an accelerate type program, they were working hard, every minute was vital for them. So I had to make sure I turned up before the bell went and they were ready to go and they were maximising every second that they could. And that was a great example for me. So for you guys who I have taught, you'll know that I'll try and be there before you are, okay, when the bell goes after lunchtime or interval or something like that. So I learnt that from them. And surprise, surprise, all those guys are now successful, whether it be in New Zealand or around the world. A guy called RDW. Now, RDW had a great work ethic. He worked in a bakery before school. And occasionally he'd come into my office with some donuts or cream buns. Really like cream buns, actually. I don't know if they have them anymore. It's either mock cream or fresh cream. And we'd have a bit of a chat. But we soon sort of realised that probably eating these buns wasn't the right thing to do. Anyway, RDW was saving his money and he bought a car. It was an Escort. And I've discussed this with some guys in HW as well. And I think it was a 4-door. It wasn't a 2-door. It was a 4-door Escort. And it was his pride and joy. And he had RDW across the top of the windscreen. I don't think you can do that anymore. But he did. He parked his car at the end of Wellersbourne Street by the art suite. And we could do that in those days because there weren't so many staff and there weren't many boys with cars either. He put an alarm in his car because he was so proud of it. And what he would do is after lunch, he would be sitting up in E6 or E7. Hopefully I'm not giving bad ideas out here, but it might be the old one. And what he would do, he would wait for Tom Mate to come past. Now, you know what a good job Tom Mate does? Emptying all the rubbish bins around the school. Most of you guys are pretty good and you put your rubbish in the bin, some don't. Anyway, Tom's doing his job and he's walking past with his trolley past RDW's car. You know what he'd do? He'd set the alarm off. And you can imagine what the Tom Mate's reaction. Well, the other things that RDW did, and I got a bit of a laugh out of this one, because I was in the car with him one day when he did it. I don't know what we were doing, but we were. His windscreen wipers, the one on the left, he didn't have it pointed towards his windows. He had it pointed to the left. So he'd pull up to a set of lights or a stop sign or something like that, and he'd push the window washers. And it might be a beautiful day with a clear blue sky, and the person on the bike next to his car be going, "Where's that come from?" So RDW is sitting in there, and I was sort of, on this occasion, laughing with him as well. 4LG. That was a hard case class. They were probably the opposite to 6VI, so you can sort of get a bit of a picture of the class. And our form class was in E2, and in those days, and Mr. Drake will know, that it was Mr. Astel's class, and Mr. Astel took a lot of pride in his class. The boys got a basketball in there one morning, and they're passing the basketball around, and they broke a window. We got banned from E2 for a fortnight. I think it's the only class in the history of the school that's been banned from going into a class. So we had to have our roll call out in the middle of the quad somewhere. So again, you guys will realise that when you come into my room, if you've got a basketball or rugby ball or something like that, you give it to me, I put it down the front of the class, and you get it at the end of the class, so avoid those sort of things happening. Anyway, this class, I sort of kept in contact with some of them and sort of followed their progress. And one night when I was the careers advisor, I knew that quite a few boys were interested in being in the police force. So I knew a couple of policemen. It was a policeman and policewoman in actual fact. and agreed to go out with them on duty one Friday night. So I spent 6 hours out with them one night, and it was amazing. It was amazing what they had to attend to. It was a great learning experience for me. Anyway, we're going around the square at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're following this car, and sort of one of the back wheels was decidedly wobbly, and it looks like it was going to come off. So they put their siren on, pull the car over. 2 guys get out, and they're big guys, okay? And they're effing and sort of giving all sorts of hand gestures, and the cops are sort of backing off a bit, and they're sort of reaching for their bat, and I thought, golly. So I stayed well back. And the small guy gets out of the car, and he says to these 2 big guys who are giving the cops a hard time, oi, stop that. He's a teacher, you know. And this boy's got, his name was Terry. And despite years of antisocial behaviour, because I used to read his name in the paper on a regular basis, he still respected school teachers, so that was quite a hard case. Another guy I can think of, and I've got a few, so I don't want to hold things up too much, but I've got a few. This guy's name was Craig. Craig came from QEC. He was an awesome hockey player. We didn't poach him. We tend to talk about sort of poaching there. We didn't poach him. Mr. O'Connor Senior was the principal at QEC, and he encouraged Craig to come over here to play hockey, and play hockey at a reasonably high level, which he did. He used to love assembly guys, okay? And at this stage, I was a sixth form dean, or year 12 dean. I'm standing about where Mr. Pinder is now. And I see Craig sitting there, and all of a sudden, and I'm not advocating violence by any means, and I just sort of just made eye contact with him. I say, like this, and Craig just sort of goes, and that's it. All right? So he took ownership of the assembly, and that's one of the things that I remember about Craig. The formal part of the school was really important for him. Anyway, so talking about hockey about Craig, I watched him, and he was outstanding, all right? So he was a centre forward, scored goals from anywhere, and went on to play for New Zealand and played about 30-odd games for New Zealand. There's one occasion he was playing against Auckland Grammar, and he received the ball inside the circle about 5-6 metres from the goal. Now, 99 times out of 100, he would have scored. But on this particular occasion, he blasted over the top. And I was talking about it with him afterwards, and he said to me he never thought he was going to get the ball in that position in the game. Because they're playing Auckland Grammar, who at that stage were the best in New Zealand. They won the Rank Cup more than anybody else put together. And he never thought he was going to be in that situation. And what I learnt from that was mental preparation. You guys do a lot of physical preparation, not only for your sport, but other activities as well. So he didn't rehearse, he didn't go through in his mind, so it's visualization. And that's one of the things that I learnt from that. And one of the things I've done with groups that I've been involved with as well, to try and prepare people mentally as much as anything else before they go into a competition. Big D. Some of you will know Big D. Big D's a great guy, good mate of Mr. Doolan's. Now, Big D was born with a coordination issue. I don't think I've been unfair on him here, am I? Okay. So Big D was a country boy. He came from out of Fielding Way. Comes into the hostel, and the hostel boys can relate to this, does everything. Does everything to the best of his ability. You know, does the Ruheni, does the Roy, does the vocal, all that sort of stuff. Never complained once, just got on with it. And earned the respect as a result, because he didn't complain, and there are people in this hall like that who can relate to that right now as well. And I remember on one occasion when College House only had one TV and there was an All Black game on or something like that, and Big D sort of comes in and the head prefect makes room for Big D right at the front. You sit there. Now that's respect, okay? And he's done well, Big D, as I say. He'd be one of the most loyal guys I've come across. Mocky. Now, when Mocky was at school, this is going to surprise the rector, because the rector knows this guy. When Mocky was at school, he was meek and mild. How do you say boo to a goose? And he went on a cricket tour with Mr. Doolan. I don't know how he managed that, but he did. Mockie's advice before he went from a family friend was this, and I've used this before, some of you guys have heard this: eyes open, ears open, mouth closed. And that was pretty good advice, and he followed that on that tour. But after he left school, sort of things went south from there. There was an occasion when Mockie was playing for Manawatu, and they're playing Hawke's Bay. There's a cricket match. And in cricket, well, in sport in general, a lot of you guys have heard the term sledging. Usually, it's the bowler sledging the batsman. This time, it's an exception. The rector, Mr. Bovey's bowling to Mockie, bowls Mockie out. Mockie sledges Mr. Bovey. Not sure what it was about, but it was a classic sort of incident in cricket. Panthers. Now, Panthers was a hockey team which I took quite a few years ago, and it was a bit of a challenge, I have to say, because I'm not a hockey person really. Okay, as Mr. Bovey said, I'm sort of more cricket and rugby, but I took on hockey as a bit of a challenge. And we were year 10 and year 11 team, pretty inexperienced, and we were quite frankly put in the wrong grade. We were playing against men and first 11s, and we were about a fifth 11. Playing record, played 18, drew 1, lost 17. Okay? Now, I've taken lots of sporting type groups in this school, but I'm just using this as one example. I could use heaps. But the thing that stood out for me in this particular group is sort of was that they, for me, embodied a lot of the great qualities that sport has to offer. In things like character building, obviously, losing 17 out of 18. The commitment they showed, whether it be practice or in the game. The games are on Sunday, so they had to be committed on a Sunday. Now, Mrs. Rankin will remember this because her son was the goalie. He'd never played hockey before. What a baptism of fire, okay? And he went through and became goalie for the first 11 when they won the Rankin Cup. I remember one game against a team, the first round we lost 12-0. Next round when we played the same team, I said, okay, our challenge is to try and reduce the score by 100%. So if we lose by 6-0, okay, we've done well. We lost 4-0. It was like we'd won 4-0. Okay, I can remember the boys sort of coming off and thinking that they'd overachieved, and they had really, in all reality. So commitment, friendship, loyalty, spirit, camaraderie, and above all, okay, they had heaps of fun. And I had guys ringing me from other teams on a Sunday morning asking me if I was short. So usually in a team like that, okay, if you're on the losing end of things, okay, you struggle to find people, but we had more than sufficient, which was awesome. Is Jones here, of the Alex variety? I'm going to use the current one. There he is, okay. Jones dented my car about a month after I got it. Every time I wash it, which is about every second week, I think of Jones and get annoyed. But no, he's actually redeemed himself because he calls me granddad. And I reckon that's pretty neat. So well done, Jonesy. Okay, just a couple of little challenges and I'll finish up here. School stand. Look down. Reach down. Pull your socks up. Right, sit down. Vernon Club, stand up. Just get this, listen carefully. Leicester City, Chicago Cubs, the Irish rugby team, Western Bulldogs, Cronulla Sharks. What have they got in common? They created history this year, and so have Kiora. So it's about time Vernon created some history, okay? You have... So Vernon was established in 1962, all right? I was not a staff member then, Rector, I know that you're thinking that. 2017 has got to be your year, and you've got to start planning for it now, and that's basically my message. What can you do? Show some old-fashioned guts, first of all. That's what you need. Participate freely without being asked to. Don't look over your shoulder, put your hand up and take some responsibility. And that might be year 9 all the way through to year 13s. Show initiative by organising a group. You don't have to be the best player or the best performer to do that. Just exercise some initiative. Prepare, take pride in your performance, train to do something extra. Okay, and that could come from something as simple as keeping in step in the marching. So you all have to do something. I'd love to see Vernon win the Shan Shield. Okay, I think Cura's run is coming to an end. You can sit down, guys, thank you. So just finishing, leavers, go well wherever you're going to be. And I might see some of you on Friday night. To those returning, come back with a purpose. So that's it from me. Thanks for listening and have a good holiday.
Get up! Open! Geordie! Hey! Come on! Todo Nazista! Oh, Colquhoun! Tomatame! Patapapaya! Katsutamu! Kaita! Fuck!
Well done, thank you, gentlemen. On your behalf, for Mr. Linton and all the staff who are leaving, all the very best for the future. and to thank them for their dedication to Palmerston North Boys High School. Their contributions both inside the classroom and with you young men to have opportunities across a broad range of areas, and without such staff contributions we would be unable to offer many of the activities we do on a daily basis. So please join with me in thanking all of our staff who are leaving today. Given that it's the Sports and Cultural Prize giving and keeping it in the family, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Mr Linton Jr. For his commitment to the first cricket 11. Mr Linton was in the first 11 during his time at school here, and he joined the coaching team with the first 11 in 2011 when the team won the Super 8 title. In 2012 he assumed the reins full-time, and in that time has taken the team to 3 consecutive runner-up spots in the Super 8. I know he doesn't like being reminded about that, but also to consecutive outright victories over Auckland Grammar in the annual fixture. Mr Linton has also been involved in overseas tours during his time with the first 11, and the time given to coaching one of the school's top teams is significant and involves many, many hours away from one's home and family. So please join with me in recognising Mr Linton's contribution to the first 11. I would also like to recognise Mrs Dickinson's contribution to hockey in the school as teacher in charge of hockey for the past 26 years. During her time in that role, Mrs Dickinson has overseen a huge number of young men and a huge number of teams. There's been a great deal of success throughout the grades for those teams. There have been overseas tours, there have been a number of regional and national age grade representatives, and in many aspects the role of teacher in charge is a thankless one. The administration of one of the school's major sporting codes requires significant time and energy, and we thank Mrs Dickinson for all she has done for hockey and in providing so many opportunities for our young men in this regard. So please join with me in thanking Mrs Dickinson. So now, gentlemen, we move to the 2016 Sports and Cultural Prize Giving Ceremony. The special guest and presenter at this year's prize giving is Mr Trevor Shaler. Born in the Manawatu and educated at Awatapu College, Mr Shaler won his first New Zealand junior boxing title in 1983, and in 1992 was selected to go to the Olympics in Barcelona, Spain, alongside fellow boxers Celilio Figota and David Tua. In 1994 he won bronze at the Commonwealth Games in Canada, was named Manawatu Sportsman of the Year, and was the first New Zealand University's Māori Sportsman of the Year. As an Olympian, Commonwealth bronze medalist, Oceania champion, national champion, Mr Shaler is one of New Zealand's all-time best amateur boxers. He retired from boxing in 1995, deciding to focus his career in public health promotion and communications. He has had athlete support and cultural support roles at 5 Olympic Games, including 2 Winter Games. Mr Shaler was the New Zealand team's Deputy Chef de Mission, supporting Rob Waddell at the recent Rio Olympics in Brazil. He was made a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit for services to sport and the community. More recently, he was a guest here at school opening the National Conference on Sports Performance hosted by Palmerston North Boys High School, and is currently the CEO of Sport Manawatu. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr Shaler to the lectern this morning.
Kia ora tātou, tēnei ngā mihi kia tātou katoa, ko huhu mai nei I tēnei wāro te marutu tuani o tātou nei whare, no reira tēnā koutou katoa. He mihi tuatahi, he mihi ki te rangatira, Mr Bovey, te kai hautu o te kura nei, e rau rangatira mā ngā morangi, ngā hāpai o ki muri, ka nui ngā mihi kia koutou katoa. No reira, tēnā koutou, kia ora mai tātou katoa. So firstly, it's a pleasure to be here, privileged to be here and have the opportunity to speak. I thought it was awesome, the last speaker, so I'm going to follow in the similar footsteps in terms of telling you some stories, and hopefully you'll see some stuff within those stories that might connect or resonate with you. But that's your challenge. Your challenge is to figure out what makes sense and what might resonate with you. As Mr. Bovey has said, my sporting background is boxing. Now, I grew up here in Palmerston North, went to Aopuni Primary School, Monrad Intermediate, and then on to Awatapu College. But my mum and dad, had 5 boys by the time she was 21. And so there's a 6.5-year gap between my oldest brother and my youngest brother. No twins. And we had TV too, so I don't know. But 6.5-year gap. So you can imagine at our place, boxing was always going to be quite high as a sport for us. So I'm number 2. And if I'm born on New Year's Eve, and if I was born a day later, I would have been born in the same year as my younger brother. And so at the age of 10, my father took my older brother, myself, and my younger brother to a boxing club here in Palmerston North called the Kiwi Boxing Club. He obviously thought we weren't doing it very well, so he decided that he'd get us to the boxing club. And I turned up at the Kiwi Boxing Club my first day at the gym, and I really liked it. I thought, man, I could do well with the sport. But I had what you call a life moment. Now, a life moment, a lot of the teachers will understand, and some of you might understand a life moment. A life moment is something that happens to you that changes the course of your life. I was heading in a particular direction, and I had this life moment that changed my perception, changed where I was going. And that life moment was my boxing coach. His name was Peter Fitzgerald. And at 11 years of age, Peter came to my house late at night one night, knocked on the door. I heard my father answer the door, and I heard it was Peter, my boxing coach. And all I could think about was, why has he come to the house? Surely he hasn't come to the house because I've been good. Surely there. So I was trying to rack my brains around why he'd be at the house. And so I got out of bed, snuck down the hallway, and I heard him talking to my parents. And he said to my parents, do you know what you've got down there? Mum and Dad said, no. And he said, he's a thoroughbred. And if you don't feed him and look after him, he's not going to get to where he's supposed to get to. And I walked back to my room after hearing that message. I walked back to my room. They didn't know that I was listening. I walked back to my room and I was thinking to myself, Far, what's a thoroughbred? I mean, Far, I was only 11, man. I didn't know it was a flash horse. You know, so I trotted back to my room. And got to throw that in there just in case. So at 11, I wrote, my goal at 11 was to go to the Olympics at 11. It took me 10 years, 21 years of age, to get to the Barff Olympics in 1992. And man, what an experience that was. And I'll tell you a funny story, and then I'll tell you I got to trained 10 years to get to the Olympic Games, and here I was, and we were just about to march into the stadium, and I was really nervous, and because we had a different team culture, everybody just turned up. I didn't know everybody that was in the team, and we had some pretty amazing athletes in the team, and I didn't really know who they all were, and somebody came along, because we were standing in 9 lanes, and somebody came along and said, stand on the outside lane. And I said, well, how come? They said, well, when you come out on that outside lane, you'll be the closest to the TV, so everybody will see you. So I thought, oh, Chad, that's a pretty good idea. So this person, though, told everyone. So you can imagine our line was terrible. Everybody was so vain, they all wanted to stand on the outside lane to be on TV, but it was okay, because all the pushing and shoving and that, because we were in the boxing team and we had David Tua, so we had no problem with holding our spot on the outside lane. It was no issue for us. But I was getting really nervous, and when I'm nervous, I have to tell a joke. And our flag bearer was Mark Todd. And I thought, well, he rides horses. I'm a thoroughbred. There's a connection there, surely. So I cruised up to Mark. I said, oh, kia ora, Mark, hey, Trevor here from Palmerston North. And I said, look, I've been practicing at home with the broomstick, with carrying the flag, just in case they ask me. But I see they've asked you. And when I was practicing at home with the flag, the flagpole sticks into the groin area. And I don't know how many times I practiced, but I couldn't seem to walk too straight because it was quite uncomfortable. And I was worried that that if he didn't do it well, he'd look like a dick. So I said to him, I've got a solution, because I like to be solution focused. I said to him, I saw down the back there that there's a broomstick. And I think if we get that broomstick and we add it to the flagpole, we run it through your legs and you gallop in, bro. Interesting how some of the people don't have a sense of humour. Walking into the stadium, 70,000 people. 70,000. And I walked around, it was amazing. It was truly trained 10 years, and here I was waving out to all these people. It was awesome. 5 days later, I got into my weight class. I was fighting as a light welterweight, and I drew a guy from Hungary. I was getting to think, what a funny country, you must be hungry. And I got into my fight, the bell went, and we fight 3-minute rounds, so that's 9 minutes. Within 9 minutes, I'd lost. Within 9 minutes, I'd lost. And in boxing, when you lose, you're out. There's not like other sports like rowing and other sports, there's a repechage, and you get another chance to see if you can further yourself in the games. At the Olympics, in boxing, you lose and you're out. And here I was, 10 years, and in 9 minutes, I'd lost. So, that equates to about every year that I trained was worth, about a minute. And I was gutted. I came out. I was the only one from Manawatu in 92 that had gone to the Olympics, so they'd raised lots of money for me to go, and everybody watched it live on TV. And I remember getting out of the ring. I remember getting changed. I remember ringing home. And the shame, man, I was so embarrassed that I hadn't done better, because I expected to do heaps better, and I'd lost. And I rang home, and I was pretty upset. And one of my brothers got on and said, how you didn't need to go to the Olympics to get that. You could have stayed home and got a hiding. Family hard, So it was good to laugh about it. But the interesting part of that story is that earlier this year I went to Rio as the deputy chef de mission. And as Mr. Bovey said, the number of Olympics I've been to, I've been to 11 games. I've been to 7 Olympics and 4 Commonwealth Games. So if you go back to when I was 11 and my coach came to my house, my goal at 11 was to go to the Olympics. My goal wasn't to win a gold medal, my goal was to go. So the moral of the story is you should be careful what you wish for, because it might come true. Because I can tell you, if I had put that I wanted to win gold at the Olympic Games, I can tell you I would have got pretty close, because I was pretty determined. I understood what I needed to do to get there at that level. Sacrifice. Sacrifice means doing something that's hard when you could be doing something that's easy. So when I was growing up, when all my mates were doing something that was easy, I chose to do something that was hard. The other one was being able to handle disappointment. It's such an important... I could have given up a long time along, a number of times along the way, but the notion around unwavering perseverance was one of my fundamental traits. There's no way I'm going to give up. And the reason I've never given up, and the reason I've ended up back in this role, is ultimately around perseverance. And it's about the fact that I fought the Cuban world champion in 1991. He'd had 350 fights. He was a beast. And I won my first fight. I got Duvajal in the second fight. 3-time world champion, 350 fights from Cuba. And I remember getting into the ring, and in my office, I've got this photo in my office with me fighting Duvajal, and it's awesome. It's my best image that I look at regularly. And I lost that fight. But in that fight, the image, I'm standing there and I've got my hands up really high because I'm a natural counter boxer. So I like to counter everything that they do. the Cubans are natural counterboxers. So this photo is me with my hands up really high, going, no, you throw first. And he's got his hands right down. You can see his guns, and he's going, come on, bro, you throw first. And I'm going, no, you. And it's just this awesome image. But that image every day reminds me that that was the fight that I gave away my power. I turned up in that boxing fight, and I walked into the ring, and I knew I wasn't going to beat him. And that image reminds me every day was the image that nobody can take your power away from you. The only way you lose it is if you give it. The only way you lose it is if you give it. So power in this context is about self-belief. So if you've got your own self-belief and you understand that's what it is for you, nobody can take it. When I fought the Cuban, I walked out in the ring and I just handed it to him because I thought no way that and I shouldn't have even been in the ring because there was no way I was going to beat him. So that was an awesome lesson for me. So I'm going to wrap up my speech there. Hopefully there's some things for you to think about. I want to wish all the leavers all the best on their future endeavours. I want to acknowledge all of the students for that mean and powerful, that haka that you just did. Because the notion for me around haka is around stimulating the wairua. And stimulating your wairua is about making that connection to your passion and to your commitment. So all the best. Thank you very much.
Ngāmihi kia koe matua. Just on behalf of Palmerston North Boys High School, I'd like to thank you for coming in and sharing your experiences with us this morning. And I think just showing us what it really takes to kind of reach the pinnacle in not only sport, but whatever field you choose to take in life. So just on behalf of the school, I have a small gift as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you, Mr. Shaler. That was fantastic. Some real insights there, and it's fantastic to be able to hear about an image that you can look at of yourself in a what was probably another life moment in many regards. So thank you very much. Gentlemen, we move now to the award proceedings, and so we'll begin with the presentation of Gold Barraclough Award certificates and badges. The Barraclough Award recognises young men in the senior school who fully immerse themselves in school life and who display a positive attitude in all that they do. At roll call this morning, students who had qualified for a silver or bronze Barraclough Award received their certificates. Congratulations to those young men for their dedication and commitment to school life. We will now present Gold Barraclough badges and certificates to the young men in the senior school who have met the prerequisite standard for this level of the Barraclough Award. A young man will be presented with a badge and certificate on the first occasion he qualifies for a Gold Barraclough Award. Should he qualify in future years, he will be presented with a certificate only. Young men who have earned a Gold Barraclough Award in 3 consecutive years will have these presented at the school prize giving this evening. These awards will be presented in groups, and so as per usual, gentlemen, we'll hold our applause until the entire group is assembled on stage, and I'd like to invite Mr. Shaler forward to make those presentations. So in the first group, gentlemen, we'll have the Year 11 Gold Barraclough Award. In Group 1, we have Luke August, Corbin Avery, Richard Bell, Aidan Burkhan, George Brown, Isaac Chan, Wade Cooper, Callum Crawley, Stuart Cruden, Finn Davidson, Rashab D, Christopher Dewhurst, Jake Favell, Jared Govers, Xavier Hill, Liam Howe, Nick James and Henry Leck. Can you shoot, Corbin? In the second group of Year 11 pupils, we have Chris Lyons, Adam Martin, Finn Martin, Eric McKee, Jack Nesdale, Junius Ong, Robin Park, Jamie Penn, Cam Pomana, Ben Roberts, Chaz Rossiter, Sam Russell, Nick Sledges, Harley Smith, Matthew Turrell, Digby Worthmuller, Flynn Yates and Caleb Young.
If you get the wrong one, it's in there.
We move now to the Year 12 Barraclough Award, and in the first group of Year 12 students we have Shamir Ahmed, Daniel Alvey, Alexander Anton Dejoux, Hamza Arafat, Connor Beck, Samuel Bentham, Denzel Chung, Alex Gamester, Caleb Hansen, Jack Harvey, Daniel Hodgetts, Jonas Holman, Jesse Hyde, Michael Ioane, Stanley Jackson, Sam Kennard, Alan Kirk, Nico Leffering, Joseph Muffy and Finlay McRae. And in the second group of Year 12 students, Joseph Medicsky-Scott, Adam Meningini, Asan Narazi, Alex Noyan, Matthew O'Leary, Dominic Oliver, Matt Peel, Anson Price, Benji Pritchard, Nick Punnett, Lewis Romati, John Robinson, Emmanuel Shaji, Greg Shaw, Ayman Shway, Richard Simpson, Jack Sturmey, Patrick Takarua, Matthew Taylor, Makairi Tippini, Tom Tremaine, Thomas Walsh, Harrison Ward, Liang Wu and Gordon Zhao. In Year 13, the Barraclough Awards go to the following young men: Chris Arbuthnot, George Baldwin, Matthew Brennan, Matt Brownrigg, Elliot Gibbons, Darren Hirschberg, Braden Yosse, George Lynch, David Martin, Duncan McDonald, Taylor Monk, Floyd Nanagara, Fetu Nanagara, Alex Oakton, Aidan Partridge Long, Baxter Perry, Simon Pritchard, Leighton Ralph, Braden Rowe, Martini Ruai, Samuel Sati, Johnny Shannon, Campbell Stewart, Takarangi Taputu Love, Stuart Turrell, Hunter Worthmuller, and the Prefects Cup for contribution to the community, Joel Fleet Stevenson.
These guys got in the right order?
Yeah, Floyd. From an earlier group, Xavier Hill is away. He's swimming in the Queensland State Championships. And as we announced yesterday, Braden Yosse isn't with us this morning because he's at work with the Hurricanes. Moving now to the individual codes, we will begin with athletics. And from the New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics and Road Race Championships held recently in Waitakere, second in the senior boys javelin, Aidan Smith, first in the under-16 3,000 metres and second in the 1,500 metres, Benjamin Wall, second in the under-16 high jump, Mark Sumanu, third in the open 3,000 metre walk, Braden Popo, first in the under-16 4x400 metre relay, Mark Sumanu, Reef Dawson, Benjamin Wall, Jaden Shaw, the Higgy Townsend High Performance Cup, Aidan Smith. In cross-country, the McGregor Family Cup for junior champion, Andre Lapine Day, the Sims Family Cup for intermediate champion, Samuel Phillips, winner of the Open Championship, Samuel Phillips, and the senior champion, Finn Stewart Withers. In the road race, the Prefects Cup for junior champion, William Leong, the Jowett Cup for minor intermediate champion, Samuel Phillips, the Kelman Loveday Cup for major intermediate champion, Dineth Rajapakse, the Whalley Cup for senior champion, Finn Stewart Withers, the Nash Trophy for most improved harrier, Samuel Phillips, and in the junior road race, in Year 9, the Wood Cup, Liam Wall, and in Year 10, the Lester Houghton Cup, Benjamin Wall.
Sam gets 4. Just get bigger next year for going around.
In badminton, the Owen Cup goes to Wei Lim. Excuse me. In basketball, Year 9, the Ridge Cup for most valued player, Xavier Mason, the most improved player, Josh Willian, In Year 10, the Strawbridge Cup for Most Valued Player, Koperi Tanua. The Most Improved Player, Jack Pinder. Junior A, the Bardsley Family Cup for Best Defensive Player, Trey Wihongi. Under 16, the Stevenson Trophy for Most Valued Player, Tane Davis. The Dennis K Cup for Most Improved, Junius Ong. The Trophy Specialist Best and Fairest Basketball Player, Isaiah Smiler. In Senior A, the Most Improved Player, Hayes Walker. Most Valued Player, Oscar Oswald. The McTamaney Cup for Best Defensive Player, Callum McRae. And the Frost Family Cup for Greatest Contribution to Basketball, Jack Henry. In boxing, in the junior divisions, the light flyweight champion under 46 kilos and the Coronation Rose Bowl for Most Scientific Junior Boxer, Keegan Finlay. The flyweight champion under 54 kilos, Cameron Scott. The bantamweight champion under 57 kilograms, Wirrawaka Cochrane. The lightweight champion under 60 kilos, Hayden Hutchinson. The light welterweight champion under 63.5 kilos, Regan Fleming. The welterweight champion under 67 kilograms, Seth Norling. The light middleweight champion under 71 kilograms, Tavita Henare Schuster. The middleweight champion under 75 kilos, James Philpott. The heavyweight champion over 81 kilos, Grady Malloy. And in the intermediate division, the light middleweight champion under 71 kilos, Richard Bell. Middleweight champion under 75 kilograms in the Doolan Family Cup for Most Scientific Intermediate Boxer, Levi Sharat. And the heavyweight champion under 91 kilograms, Joseph Meady. In the senior division, the lightweight champion under 60 kilos, Reece Mora. The welterweight champion under 71 kilograms, the Austin Trophy, James Carmichael. The middleweight champion under 75 kilograms, Alex Petrovic. The light heavyweight champion under 81 kilograms, and the Hopwood Cup for Most Scientific Senior Boxer, Matt Bowden. The open heavyweight champion under 100 kilograms, the Watchhorn Cup for school champion, Nico Tangaroa. In bowls, the Dennis Duffy Cup for the open champion, Reece Mora. Canoe polo, the Max Grant Cup for best canoe polo player, Harry Dickens. And in chess, the Sims Cup for contribution to the chess club, Malachi Hill. And the school champion, Sol Ross. In cricket, the special batting awards for individual performances during the season. Alex Saunders-Maloof for scoring 108 for the fourth 11 versus Bloomfield. Isaiah Smiler, 112 off 114 balls for the fourth 11 versus Fielding. The Page Trophy for the best Year 9 cricketer, Logan Love. The Jensen and Wenham Family Cup for best Year 10 cricketer, Jack Wenham. Now both Logan and Jack are playing in a rep tournament at the moment. And the Lester Williams Cup for Butler Cup cricket, most wickets, Jacob Freeman Broderick. The first 11 cricket, the Redemeyer Brothers Trophy for the most meritorious innings, Charles Parker for his 125 versus Rathkeale College in the second round of the Gillette Cup qualification. The Batting Cup, 958 runs at 25.89, Charles Parker. The Bowling Cup, 29 wickets, Jack Harris. The Best All-Rounder Cup, 735 runs and 26 wickets, Floyd Nanagara. The Greg Malcolm Memorial Trophy for Most Improved Player, Keegan Bremner. The Hewer Trophy for Best Bowling Performance, 5 for 27 versus Wellington College, Braden Rowe. The Alec Astle Cup for Determination, Commitment and Dedication to the team and the game of cricket, Braden Rowe. The McSweeney Cup for Fielding with 36 catches and 4 stumpings, Fetu Nanagara. And the Nobby Anderson Memorial Trophy for Greatest Contribution to Cricket, Fetu Nanagara. First 11 cricket caps, so caps from the 2016 season, Jack Harris, Ben O'Connor, James Stratton, Thomas Walsh, Bryn Wilson, Tom Tremaine, Keegan Bremner, and caps from the 2015 and 2016 seasons, Fetu Nanagara, Floyd Nanagara, Charles Parker and Braden Rowe. And the 2017 Super 8 squad that'll be travelling for the first 11 cricket to Hamilton for that competition prior to school beginning at the start of next year is Ben O'Connor captain, Thomas Walsh vice captain, Tom Tremaine, Sam Russell, Bryn Wilson, Caleb Hanson, Reuben Love, Rishab D, Jack Harris, Cam Harridge, Finn Martin and Henry Dean. So all the best for those young men at that tournament. Cycling, we move to now, and the Pedal Pushers Trophy for Most Improved Cyclist, Dylan Simpson. The Palmerston North Boys High School Cup for Cycle and Academic Excellence, David Martin. The Stewart Cup for Commitment to the Cycling Team, Andrew McKenzie. The MEH RDD Trophy for the Greatest Contribution to Cycling, Campbell Stewart. Campbell was for the second year in a row the Manawatu Secondary School's Supreme Sportsman of the Year. In debating, the Ryan Orange Cup for Best Year 9 debater Paul Lee, the Eustafun Amelsport Cup for Best Year 10 debater William Wood, the Dennis Duffy Cup for Best Year 11 debater Aidan Burkhan, and the Gordon N. Cruden Cup for the Best Year 12 debater Denzel Chung. We move now to drama, the McNeill Cup for contribution to junior drama, John Cole, the Lynch Cup for contribution to senior drama, Chris Dewhurst, production awards, the Monaghan Award for excellence in theatre technology, Dylan Faulkner and Geordie Rogers, the Liz O'Connor Trophy for most promising musical performer, Chris Dewhurst, the Sandra Wheeler Musicians Award, Chung Hee Cho, the Barbara Shorter Award for excellence in the senior production, Simon Pritchard, the Chris Burton Award for excellence in drama, Baxter Perry, Josiah Neville, Joseph Medixie Scott, and in football, the Wood Trophy for most improved under-14 player, Devon Charles, the under-14 player of the year, Luke Minshall, who's absent at a tournament, the Boyack Cup for the under-16 player of the year, Cameron Henn, the trophy specialist, best and fairest football player, Finlay McRae, the Brown Cup for service to Palmerston North Boys High School football, to Aidan Partridge Long, and Aidan was also the Manawatu Secondary School's Official of the Year. They did. So we move now to the football first 11. That last group of football players come up, beginning with Devon Charles. They all came through, righto.
Are they coming
I was at them now. So I shall read those again then. The Wood Trophy for the most improved under-14 player, Devon Charles. The under-14 player of the year, Luke Minshall. The under-16 player of the year, the Boyack Cup, Cameron Henn. The trophy specialist, best and fairest football player, Finlay McRae. And the Brown Cup for service to boys high school football, Aidan Partridge Long. The first 11 football awards, the Ridge Cup for most improved player, Sam Jones. The Donahue Cup for best forward, Troy Aiken. The Ewell Cup for top goal scorer, Alex Saunders-Maloof. The Price Trophy for best defender, Lewis Atherton. The RAS Trophy for best midfield player, Luke Palfreyman. The Morrison Cup for best newcomer, and the Pitt Trophy for player of the year, Zach Mangos. And the Steve Burnley Trophy for the greatest contribution to first 11 football, Taylor Monk. First 11 football caps for 2016, Jaden Shaw, Sam Jones, Thanu, Sam Henley King, Zach Mangos, Josh Davenport, Jacob Cranston, Ben Burnley. Caps for 2015 and 2016 seasons, Liam Outram, Lewis Atherton, Thomas Viles, Troy Aiken, Alex Saunders-Maloof. Caps for the 2014, 2015 and 2016 seasons, Taylor Monk, who was the captain, Luke Palfreyman. And Taylor Monk also for outstanding contribution to first 11 football, played in the 2014, 15 and 16 seasons as I just mentioned, and played 111 games for the first 11. And so in recognition of his involvement and achievements, Taylor will be also presented with an embroidered first 11 football shirt. We move now to golf and the Bidlake Trophy for the best Stableford, Bradley McSherry, the Minolta Trophy for best net, Scott Eru, the Todd Jury Trophy for best gross, and the school champion Greg Shaw. In hockey, the trophy specialist best and fairest hockey player Hunter Worthmuller, the New Zealand Stick for most promising Year 9 player Ben Loudon, the Andrew Prime Trophy for greatest contribution to junior hockey Caleb Hansen, the Alex Heatley Cup for most improved junior player Jack Hildred, the Wilson Trophy for dedication and outstanding work ethic in junior hockey, Samuel Phillips, and the Boys High Second 11 Most Valued Player, David Martin. The First 11 Hockey Awards, the Doug Somerville Trophy for Most Improved New Player, Tom Tremaine, the Ward Cup for Most Improved Player, Brendan Payne, the Parsot Brothers Cup for Most Goals, shared between Brendan Payne and Felix Forch, the Dentist Cup for Best Forward, Ben Blyde, the King Cup for Best Back, Ben O'Connor, the Chew Brothers Cup for Sportsmanship, Loyalty and Effort, Levi Loudon, the Champions Trophy for Most Valued Player, Bradley Grapes, and the Phillips Family Cup for greatest contribution to the First 11 hockey, Bradley Grapes. And the First 11 hockey caps for 2016 go to Joel Fleet Stevenson for the 2015 and 2016 seasons, Levi Loudon, Ben McCauley, Ben O'Connor, Brendan Payne, Matt Peel, Thomas Walsh, and the caps for the 2014, 2015 and 2016 seasons, Ben Blyde and Bradley Grapes. All right, gentlemen, stand please. Just have a stretch while we're organising things at the table. And I've invited Mr McIntosh from Manawatu Sport to come forward to present the next set of awards. Thank you, Mr Shaler, for your presentations. So we'll begin with this next set, gentlemen, with indoor cricket. The most improved player, Zach Farmer. The best fieldsman, Alex Hageta. Best bowler, Oshada Samarakoon. Best batsman, Thomas Kirk. Best all-round player, Ben Loudon. The Dunlop Cup for captain of the winning team, Mazrur Butt. The greatest contribution to indoor cricket, Harley Smith. In Kapahaka, the most improved junior, Carson Heppy. The most improved senior, Michael Papanui. In mountain biking, the Matthew Richard Adams Cup for most promising rider, Adam Francis. In music, leader of the OK Chorale, Takarangi Te Putu Love. The Reed Wheeler Cup, Brennan Couchman. And the leader of the stage band, Baton, Simon Pritchard. In Pacifica Leadership for Excellence in the Pacifica Cultural Performances, Miracle Malu. The Pacifica Leadership Award to Melo Tuimana. Pipe Band, the Ayers Trophy for Most Improved Piper, Zach Maskell. In Public Speaking, the Palmerston North Boys High School Cup for Year 9, Paul Kaiser. The Park Cup for Year 10, John Cole. The Hoban Cup for Year 11, Ronan Carroll. The Rector's Cup in Year 12 for Denzel Chung. The Lancaster Cup in Year 13, Joel Fleet Stevenson. We move now to rugby, the Judd Memorial Trophy for Most Skillful Third Form Pupil, Elijah Crosswell. The Trophy Specialist, Best and Fairest Rugby Player, Callum McKenzie. The McLean Family Cup for Greatest Contribution to the Second 15, Geordie Redfern. The Blackburn Trophy for Most Skillful Sevens Player, Jacob Hewitson Talamavao. The Kendall Toki Trophy for Sevens Player of the Year, Tiaraki Tipuni. The Sir Gordon Titchin Sevens Award, and as part of this award, the recipient receives $500 towards training and conditioning, and he will spend a day in camp with the Manu Samoa Sevens team and Sir Gordon Titchins and receive mentoring for the 2017 season, and that's Tyler Laubscher. The First 15 Rugby Awards now. The Stratton Brothers Cup for Most Improved Player, Michael Ioane. The Palmerston North High School Old Boys Club 75th Jubilee Cup for Most Promising Player, Tyler Laubscher. So he'll need to scoot to get around for this line. The Talamavao Memorial Trophy for Best Tackler, Martini Ruawai. The Trainers Cup, Martini Ruawai. The Team Player Award, Te Araki Tipuni. The Best Back, James Stratton. The Best Forward Award, the Ferris Cup for greatest contribution to rugby and the Player of the Year, Braden Yosse, and the Marist Sports Club Scholarship, Leighton Ralph. The first 15 caps for the 2016 season go to Stuart Cruden, Michael Ioane, Angus Morton, Araki Mullen, Sean Pape, James Stratton, Mackenzie Tansley, Te Araki Tupuni. For the 2015 and 2016 seasons, Leighton Ralph, Martini Ruawai, Hunter Waller, and for the 2014, 15 and 16 seasons, Braden Yosse, who was the captain this season, and of course, as I've already mentioned, Braden is away with the Hurricanes. For clay target shooting, the Tennant Trophy for the best aggregate secondary school score, Richard Simpson, and the Clark Family Trophy for the down the line aggregate, Richard Simpson also. The Leslie Family Trophy for skeet aggregate, Max Edwards. The Lynch Family Trophy for most improved, Keegan Swarbrick. In small bore, the John Carlin Memorial Trophy for small bore shooting, and the Lissington Brothers Marksmanship Trophy, Cameron Everly. In skiing, the Palmerston North Boys High School Giant Slalom Champion, Nick Sledges, and in snowboarding, the Snow Seekers Club Award, Luke Vortier. We move now to squash. The Squash Gym Cup for Junior Champion goes to George Mickelson. The Randolph Cup for Most Improved Junior Player, Matt Adsed. The GY Cup for Most Improved Senior Player, Richard Bell. The Parents Cup for Most Valued Club Member, the Club Captain's Board, and the Taylor Cup for Club Champion, Corbin Faint. In table tennis, the Palmerston North Boys High School Trophy for Open Singles Champion, Jay Lee. And in Taekwondo, the Excellence Award to Matt Bowden. In tennis, the Gregory Reed Memorial Trophy for Most Improved Junior Player, Caleb Martin. The Hooper Cup for Junior Tennis Champion, and the Hughes Cup for Outstanding Performance in Junior Interschool Fixtures, Kurt Amy. The G Cup for Intermediate Tennis Championship, and the Collier Cup for Most Improved Senior Player, Caleb Young. Caleb's absent today. The Emmett Gracie Cup for Outstanding Contribution to Tennis, Zared Griffiths. The Exted Cup for winner of the Open Championship, Kieran Rooney. In touch rugby, the Bennett Cup for Junior Player of the Year, Carson Heppy. The Highbury Whānau Centre Touch Cup Senior Player of the Year, Jacob Hewitson Talamavao. In volleyball, the Palmerston North Boys High School Cup for the Most Valued Junior Player, Seth Tahora Gardner. And the Palmerston North Boys High School Cup for Most Valued Senior Player, Philip Turia. And in water polo, the Originals Cup for contribution to water polo, Campbell McHugh. And thank you, Mr. McIntosh. We move now to the final presentation, and that's the presentation for Outstanding Achievement Caps. And you will see behind me, Mr. Colton's moving over these special boxes that Mr. McInulty on the property team has built for us. And that's to recognise outstanding achievement and longevity in representing a first team. And we have 3 of those today, but if one of those is for Braden Yossay, who will get his tonight. But I'd like to bring onto stage now Bradley Grapes, who for the first 11 hockey played 149 matches during the 2014, 2015 and 2016 seasons. And Taylor Monk with the first 11 football, 111 matches during 2014, 15 and 16 seasons. And this season this year he was the captain. And Braden Yossay, 50 matches for the first 15 during the 2014 and 15 and 16 seasons. So Bradley and Taylor.
You want them that side, Dave?
Yeah, I'll do it. Some of those numbers are quite phenomenal. If you think 149 matches for a first team is something you don't see terribly often, so that's fantastic effort. So gentlemen, that draws the 2016 Sports and Cultural Prize giving to a conclusion, and our congratulations are extended to all prize winners, and my thanks again are extended to Mr. Shaler and Mr. McIntosh for making our presentations today. Thank you also to Mr. Colton and Mrs. Dealer for all their organisation for today's ceremony, and Mr. Jury and Mr. Truder outside for organising those young men. Now, Mr. Atkin, gentlemen, will take you through details.